a colleague of mine shared this data with me and asked me to help out. So this is what it says. The need is to create a dashboard that will track performance of sales agents from multiple regions. So what we need to do is to extract this very particular metric: total sales by each agent and by region, top 3 agents, average sales, percentage growth, average performance grading. These are basically the metrics we'll be tracking. So I gave a suggestion to use pivot table, which would be more easier and faster, but for some reason, this very particular person don't like using pivot table. I asked why, but he said it is personal. So he wants to know how to do this using formula and functions. And that's exactly what we'll be doing in this very particular video. So if you want to follow along, check one of the link in the description to download this Excel file so you can practice. The first thing we need to do is to calculate total sales by each region and then by each agent. So when I go to the data section, if you observe carefully, you realize that there are so many agents among the list that we have here. So we don't know the number of agents we have. So the way to do this is to use data validation so that it can extract the number of agents we have. So I will just come down here. This is exactly where I would like to solve this problem. Let's go to the solution spreadsheet. So I will just come here, then I will just call this serial number. So let me just quickly create a format, then we continue. So I want to extract the names of agents that we have. So I'll just go to the data section, then I'll come back to data validation, then I'll select list. So I'll just come back and select this, then I'll make all the selection downward, something like this. I will expand this and then I will click OK. So that when I scroll up, you get to see that a data validation has been applied. So if I click the drop down list, I have how many agents? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That means I have 10 agents. So previously, I don't know the number of agents, but I use this system to actually get it. So what I will need to do now is to create a sequence for 10 agents. So I will just introduce the sequence function, which is this. The number of rows is 10, then I will just specify that, and my number of column is 1. I will just close my parentheses. Other parameters are optional, then I will just hit enter. It has captured from 1 to 10. I hope you understand. So coming down to the name of the agent, I will just select from the drop-down list. So before I do that, let me just copy this from here. Then I will select the remaining one. Then I press Ctrl-Shift-V so that it will give me an option to paste formatting. Or I could alternatively come to the home section, then I will just go back to paste and then go to paste special. For some reason, it's not working on my keyboard. I don't know why. So I will just select validation and then I click OK. So it has pasted all the data validation I have applied to these remaining cells. So I can just select Emma here. I will select the second person here. I will select the third continuously. So let me just quickly do this, then we continue. So these are all the agents that we have. So the next thing now is to begin to satisfy this very particular parameter that says total sales by each agent. So I will just come here, or let me just expand this and then call it total sales. Or instead of total here, what I will do is just to come down here and say this is October. Then I will just say this is what, November. Okay. So we have something that looks like this. I will apply the same formatting to this. And then this is exactly what I have. I hope you understand. But subsequently, if I do for 1 month, you know how to do for the other. Now, what I will need to do to satisfy this very particular condition is to introduce the sum if function. So I'll just type the equal sign. Then I'll introduce the sum if function, which is this. My range is from here because this is the portion that captures the name of every agent. I hope you understand. So I'll make the selection downwards. Then I will just hit comma on my keyboard. Then my criteria, let me move to the top. My criteria is the first name that apply here. So I will just hit comma on my keyboard. Then the sum range is these very particular values that I want to sum. Now, before I close my parentheses, I will make sure I select this. Then I press F4 in order to make it fixed. I'll also select the range criteria, and then I'll also press F4 to make it fixed so that I can now close my parentheses and then hit enter. Now, this is the value of this very particular sales agent. So I can just drag this downwards and it has applied for every sales agent. So what I will need to do at this moment is to format the numbers by making them a currency, or I will just use number formatting here. and this is exactly what I have. I hope you understand. So these are the total sales by all the agents across the month of, okay, sorry, this is for November. So let me just change this to November and then change this back to October. Nice. So I will repeat the same thing, the equal sign, the sum if, which is the function I'll be using. My range is this, as usual. I will make selection downwards. Then my criteria, let me move to the top and then make selection to this. Then my sum range is this very particular column. So I'll just make the selection downwards. Now, before I close it, I'll make sure this is fixed. Then I'll select this. I'll also make it fixed. Close my parentheses and then hit enter so that I can now double click so it can apply all the settings and then format the cell using number so I can have something that is well formatted and that looks like this. I hope you understand. So I'm done with the first problem, which says total sales by each agent. Then I have total sales by region. The same principle I use for agents is the same thing you use for region. The only difference is that when you are dealing with your range, then you capture region as your range. I hope you understand. And then when you are dealing with the months, you capture either October or November. I'll just search one example and then we'll move forward. So I can just copy this from here and then come to the side here just to paste it here so that I can now change this to region and then leave this to November. Let's say this is for November. Now, I will need to extract the region that we have. So I can use data validation to do that. I'm repeating myself because it's the same principle which I used before. I'm also doing it right now. I hope you understand. So I'll just select this, make the selection downwards so that I can have this. Then I'll just click OK. My data validation has been applied. When I click this drop down list, this is exactly what I have. So, but before I do that, let me first of all copy this cell and then bring it downward. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I could just say, okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Control Shift V. Or I will just go back to my home tab, use data validation, and then paste only the validation. I have something that looks like this so that I can just select each region here. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, so talking about this, let me just quickly do this since they are not much. I'll just drag it down. So I'll just come back here, then I will use the same sum if function, which is this very particular one. Now my range is the column that captures the region, which is this. As for this situation, I hope you understand. I will make the selection downwards, and then I'll make everything fixed using the F4 function on my keyboard. Then my criteria is this very particular cell. And then my sum range is November, which is this. I'll just make all the selection downwards. Then I'll make this fixed as well. And then I close my parentheses and then hit enter. So that when I double click, it will apply all through. And then I format my cell by changing this to number. Make sure no decimal is applied. And boom, this is exactly what I have. So the same principle that was done to this is the same one you do for that of October and you are good to go. So ladies and gentlemen, as far as the first problem is concerned, we are done. Then the next thing is to look at top 3 agents based on sales. I hope you understand. So let me come back here. Since I am done with this, I will just make this white, change this to white. Very good. So it will be clearly visible for anyone to see. Then I'll also change this to white as well. So I am done with this too. Like I said, the second problem is top 3 agents based on sales. Now remember that we've already calculated the sales by all agents. It's as it sum up as this. Now what we want to see is who are the top 3 based on sales. So I will just copy this heading, then I will just paste it somewhere around here. Then I could just say, okay, this is the column for agent, and then this is the sales value for, let me say, November. Okay, I'll be doing for that of November alone, but you get the logic. You can do that of October yourself. Now, I want to present the top 3. So I have only 3 values, 1, 2, 3. Let me change this to white so you can see it clearly. I hope you understand. So this is exactly what I have. Change this to this white, and that's how it looks for the moment. All right. Now, who is our first agent? Before we do that, we need to identify who's our first sale. So the only way to do that is to introduce the large function. I hope you understand. We can use the large function to identify who has the highest sales. So I will just introduce the large function, which is this. And then my array in this situation is, let me say, this very particular range because I'm dealing with sales agents. So that's my array. I'll hit comma. Then this very particular key is the number of largeness I want. If I put 1, it will give me the first largest. If I put 2, it will give me the second largest. 3, it will give me the third largest, and so on and so forth. I hope you get. So I will just type 1 here, then I'll close my parentheses. But this time around, I'll make this fixed here, then I'll hit enter so that it will give me the largest, which is this. Now, if I just drag it down, let me see. Okay, it remains the same because we have 1 here. So I will just change this to 2. I will hit enter. Then I'll come back here. I will change this to 3 and then hit enter. So these are the top 3 sales we have. I will just format these 3 cells, giving them a nice number format, which is this, using a separator, and this is exactly what I have. Now, if you cross-check carefully, you realize that this very particular guy is found here. But what is the name of the person? To do that, we need to introduce the index and match function. Now, starting with the index, I will just hit this very particular function. We need an array where the name of that agent is located. That is our first argument. So I will just select this very particular range because the person's name is located here. I'll make this fixed because I'll be running the formula downwards. So this should be fixed. Let me go back to the formula tab. I'll hit comma. Now, instead of me to specify the row number, which I don't know, I will now introduce the match function. Now, the match function will now help me match what I want as my row number for the index function. If it is confusing, don't worry. Just check one of my video about index and match. You get to understand that better. So what I need to do at this moment after introducing the match function is to look what is my lookup value. My lookup value is the number 1 sales which I calculated. After making reference to it, which is cell T4, I'll hit comma on my keyboard. Lookup array, where is it located? It is located in this very particular range. And I will also make this fixed. I hope you get the message. I will hit comma on my keyboard, and I will select, I will type 0, which is an exact match. Close my parentheses for the match function, close parentheses again for the index function, then I will hit enter. Luckily for us, Mike is the one that has the highest sale. Now, if you cross-check, $1,118,864 happens to be Mike. I hope you get the message. Okay, if I want to do that of the second largest, I'll also repeat the same formula, but since I don't want to repeat it, I will just double click here and it has applied the others for me. So if you look now, Sarah appears to be the second largest. So let's see, 1,084,000 is for Sarah. Good. The 1,081,000 is for John. I'm done. So remember that this is for the month of November. You can repeat the same process for that of what? October. I hope you understand. So we've satisfied the second condition that says top 3 sales. Then the next thing is to look at the average sales per region. This is very, very simple. So I will just copy these 2 headings from the top. Then I will just come downwards here and then paste them. So I will change this to region, or I will just change this to region, something like this. Then I will just give this one sales, and I have something like this. So average sales per region. I will just copy the drop-down list from here, Control C. I will come back, go to paste special, and then I'll copy the validation so that I can have all the regions here. Let me see how many regions. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'll go back to my validation and then I'll paste this one here so that this can be north, then the next one will be central, then the next one will be south, and then finally this one will become east. I hope you understand. All right, so I will just come back here. Since I want to look at the average per region, I will introduce the average if function. So I will just select this one and double click. My range is this. I'll look for where, what do you call it? I'll look for where region is on my main data. I'm not using this. I'm using the main data. Don't forget, because if I use this misleading, I will just click here, then I will drag it downwards, and then I'll just hit comma on my keyboard. Now, my criteria, I could just come down and select this cell, hit comma on my keyboard, and then the average range, let me use November in this situation. I will just run it downwards. I will select this F4, select this F4, then I'll close my parentheses and then hit enter. I've calculated the average for West. Now, if I double click, it will just run the same thing for the remaining region. So I will just format this and then click OK. One thing about me is that I love formatting my work. Now, if you have a way I can, quickly format, maybe a shortcut, drop it in the comment section. Let's learn from each other. I will select all this, make it white, and this is it. I'm done with the third problem. Now, the next problem is percentage growth of sales from previous to current. Now, we've already have the previous month, which is October. We have the current month, which is November. So what is the percentage sales change of sales? I don't really know of a function I can actually use to calculate this. All I know to do is that I can actually do it manually using Excel formulas. So what I will do now is to copy the heading from here. Then I will just come back here and then paste it here. So I will call this October. Then I'll call this November, if I'm not mistaken. So what I need to do is just to capture their sales, nothing more. So for the sales of November, for the sales of October, I will use the simple sum function, and then I'll capture all the sales that were made. I'll close my parentheses and then hit enter. Then I will repeat the same thing for that of November. So I will just drag the cell to this very particular point, double tap to expand, and I have this. You will see that it has actually shifted to November. So this is it. I have that of November here, and I have that of October here. So to calculate the percentage change, let me come down here and call it percentage change, something like this. Or let's say percentage CH. This should be okay. All right. So to calculate the percentage change, this is what I will need to do. I will just come back to this very particular cell, type my equal sign, then I say this minus the content in this cell. I'll put everything inside a single bracket so that I will now come back behind the bracket and then I divide by the initial one. This is how you calculate percentage change. Current minus previous, divide by previous, then you hit enter. Although some people normally do it the other way, they will say current minus previous, then let me put this in bracket again, something like this. Then at the end of the day, it will be divided by current, and then they will hit enter. This is what they have, 0.08. Mine is 0.09. So tell me which one is the correct one. Whenever I'm calculating percentage change, I normally use current minus previous divided by previous. And this is normally what I do. And if I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section. And if you think the second method is the best, drop it in the comment section. So this is what I have. Now, if I want to change this to percentage, I will just tap on this and it has become 9%. So ladies and gentlemen, we have a 9% change from October to November. Then lastly, our criteria is this agent performance grading. So these very particular agents that we've calculated for, we need to grade them. So let me just copy this data from here. No, I will just copy only the heading. Then I will say Ctrl+C, come back here and then paste it here. So this is the name of the agent. Then I will just introduce the grading here. Now, finally, before I do that, I will have to copy this information from here so that I can be properly guided. Or if I actually know them clearly, well, let me just copy the information from here and then paste it somewhere around here so that I can make reference to it. When I am done, I will clear it out. Now, I will come back here and present the name of the agent. So I will just copy them directly from here since they are already there. Then I will just come back here and then paste their names. This is it. I have them well pasted. Now, the next thing I will need to do is to present their grading. And the way to do that is to use the ifs function. The reason why I'll be using the ifs, the one that has IFS. The reason why I'm using the ifs function is because I have multiple criteria I want to test. So I'll just come back to this first cell, type the equal sign, then introduce the ifs function, and I'll have something like this. Now, the first test is that if the total sales by each agent is greater or equal to $1 million, then the agent should be awarded as excellent. So to do that, I will just say, okay, if what is inside this very particular cell, yes, if what is inside this very particular cell is greater or equal to 1 million, 123, 123, then what will happen? The person should be given excellent. So I will introduce my quotation and then I will type excellent, which is this. Then I'll close my quotation and I'll hit comma. I'm done with the first logical test. Now, going back to the second logical test, if I want to test that of good, since I have a range from 800,000 to 999,999, then I'll first of all introduce the AND function, because I can't go direct and say if it is greater than 800 because this is an interval. So I'll need to merge these two functions into one using the AND function before I can now reference it to the ifs function. Don't worry, if it is confusing, let's practicalize it. I will introduce the AND function, which is this. Then my first logical test for the AND function, I will still make reference to this very particular cell. Then I say if it is greater or equal to 800,000. So I will just type in my 800,000, which is this 801,300. If it is greater or equal to this, then the second logical test for the AND function is that if this content is less than what we have here, 999,999. So I will just type it 999,999. Yes, this is exactly what I have. So I will close the AND function. Now, everything here is now the second logical test of the ifs function. In case if this is difficult for you, check the link in the description. I have a course where I go detailed explaining Excel function. It will make you understand that very, very well. So this is what I have now as for the second logical test. Now, if this condition is met, then what will happen? I need you to specify good. So I will just type in good inside a quotation like this. Then I'll hit comma on my keyboard. Now, for the third logical test, is between 500 and 799,999. So I will still introduce the AND function again for this situation. Then my first logical test is that if the content of this same cell is greater or equal to 500,000, so 500, 1, 2, 3, then comma. The second logical test of the AND function is that if this content of this same cell is less than, what do you call it, 799,000, something like this, 999, okay? Then I'll hit comma on my keyboard. No, sorry, I'll just close my AND function, and then everything here now gives me the third logical test. So I'll hit comma on my keyboard. If this condition is met, in quotation, call it average. Again, something like this. Then I'll hit comma again. Then the final criteria is this. If the content of this same cell is now less than 500,000, so I'll just type it 500, 1, 2, 3. If it is less than 500,000, then what will happen? Just call it poor. Now the criteria, if it is true, it should be called poor. Whenever I'm dealing with something like this, I try as much as possible to be careful, because a single error, you just get confused. So let me just close my percentages. Sorry, let me close my parentheses and then hit enter. Okay, it gives good for Emma. Now, let me first of all check. Do I need to fix any cell? I don't really think I need to fix any cell. So, because the names are arranged chronologically. So what I will just do now is to double click this, and then I have excellent, excellent, and excellent. So for me to cross-check, let me copy the content of this cell, or I will just reference the cells. So let's say this is the sales. Now I've already calculated their grading, but I want to cross-check if I'm actually right. So the way to do that, I will just present all the sales by this side. So I will use absolute references. I will hit this, which is this, then I will just run it down and then make everything here white. So let me see. Excellent, correct. Excellent, correct. And then excellent, nice. This is what? Average, which is 678. Let me see. Okay, this is right. Good is 795. Okay, all these are good. 700, 800. Okay, so you can see that everything is intact and we are right. Everything is correct. So we were able to solve all the whole problems we have here using formula and functions. So if you have any difficulty using Excel formula functions, or you have a problem in Excel that gives you headache, describe it in the comment section. I'll be there and I'll create a video about it. And if you don't want to drop it in the comment section, you can send me an email using jamilu19@gmail.com. I'll also place it on the screen here for you to see. Then if you find value out of this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification icon, because I'll be releasing more of videos like this that will help you sharpen your skills, help you solve your problem, and then you find ease at your workplace so that you can be the champ. If you want to explore another problem which I solved, that I also created a video similar to this on it, I'll place it in one of the cards, either from this side or somewhere around here. So just click on it to watch, and I'll see you in that very particular video.